Should be live on Facebook, YouTube. And IG and IG. Peace and love, kings, queens, and gods. You already know who it is. It's your boy, the Floating Yogi. And this is Midday Mind. No, this is Floating Yogi's Book Club brought to you by Yogi, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education, where we are restructuring health and wellness in the community, one health habit at a time. As I always say, come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10. What up, Thrill? You know we about to go in. Layla from Born to Fly Fitness, where fitness is fashion and mental health is wealth. I'm telling you, if you don't know about the things they doing for the community, you better check in with them at Born to Fly Fitness. Just check out what they doing, the community cleanups, the programs for the kiddos. It's going down. I'm already jumping into the people who help me be me, help me do what I do. Daggone it. My dude Payogo already slid on through. He dropped a link that you can sign up on the website, create your free account, and become part of the growth gang. What's going on, T? I'm going to call you T. Brent's in this thing too. Another dude, if you're looking for some digital assets, he got you hooked up. Bow. We got no commercials in here. No commercials. No stops. No breaks. But I'll take a side quest for a J. That's it. Anyway, as I mentioned before, one of the people who helped me be me, helped me do what I do, my dude Payover, he's part of the crew too. I'm about to invite some friends on through, and I encourage you to do the same thing too. But he gonna tell you about some of the things that he offers, and how you can different ways to tap into the UE community, the Payover universe.
Alright, so go ahead and check out UE.dc on IG for the daily meditation and accountability check-in. Simple question: are you moving and meditating, or are you slacking on your greatness? You can hit that move to meditate button, and then the next day I'll give you a little shout out on a story, remind you to meditate again. Real simple process, real simple thing. Now, on top of that, I'll go live every morning to tell you that I love you. And then I take a few breaths, and we say a quick prayer. Real simple, less than 5 minutes, because I got things to do. I got 4 kids. 4 kids.
Facts.
4 kids.
4 kids.
So I breathe every morning, because it might be the last breath I can take that day before I lay my head down at night. So hop on over to UE.dc on IG, or Payover1 on IG, or the Facebook, or type in Payover in Google. PAOGR. People are our greatest resource. And click on any of those sites, because they all mean they all gonna get you where you need to be.
Boom. That was it right there. So, as I mentioned before, this is Floating Yogi's Book Club, and we're reading how yoga works, how fitting, right? We are currently on chapter 26, and it's a story about a girl, 17, in 1100. She's traveling from Tibet. What's up, Mac, my guy? I'm glad you slid on through. She's traveling from Tibet to India. She gets arrested while she's crossing over one of the borders, and they see her with this book. It's got some ancient writing in it. They're like, yo, you stole this. She was like, no, this is my master's book. He was like, all right, well, who's your master? Well, my master's dead. Okay, so where are you going? Well, I'm going to find a teacher. Okay, what's the teacher's name? I don't know the teacher's name. You're under arrest. So she's under arrest, and to prove that she is not lying and that the book is actually hers and that this wild story is actually true, she has to teach the captain of the jail yoga and fix his back. And during this process, some saucy stuff happens and unravels about the inner workings of how yoga works, how it's so much more beyond the poses, how the poses are tapping on the pipes, beating on from the outside, but the work really, really hits when it's meditation and breath work. So, let's get into it. Alright, where we at? Chapter 26, Flesh or Light. 4th weekend of August. On our next class, the captain fairly dragged me into his room. He was excited as a little boy, a far cry from the tired, grumpy office worker who I met on the first day. Questions, he's exclaimed. Lots of questions. I've been thinking about everything. When he stopped suddenly and looked at me with a touch of worry in his face. But something else, first. Something else we have to talk about. I simply nodded, and he went on. You see, wherever we go from here, I have to say, first, I have to admit that you have cured my back. And you obviously know what you are doing with the yoga, especially with yoga in the broader sense, from channels to breathing to the mind, the heart, and further. He looked up with anticipation. And so, really, I know, we both know that the book really is yours and that you cannot have stolen it, regardless of what the sergeant said long ago. And he paused. I raised an eyebrow. Said, all along? I asked. The captain reached out and toyed with the pen on his desk, a little nervously, and then said, with a slightly puzzled look on his face, yes, you see, the sergeant, well, I mean, didn't you ever wonder why he was out in that little guardhouse at the checkpoint on that day you came through? I mean, have you ever seen him or the corporal ever go out to man a crossing gate again during the whole time you've been here? And then it dawned on me what he was saying. No, I have wondered. And I really should have. I look back at the captain, puzzled now myself. Well, it was about a week before that, you see. The sergeant, he comes to me and he tells me that he's gotten word from some informant, some unnamed informant, that a girl matching your description, a foreigner from Tibet, accompanied by a dog matching his description, and the captain waved at Longlife's general direction, is going to be attempting to cross into the borders of the realm, carrying contraband, some kind of stolen articles, and that we should post guard there on that particular road to intercept her. Hey, what up, though? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to be part of the growth gang, if you want to join the Zoom room, chit chat about it, if you like the story, come on, sign up on that link that's pinned at the bottom. Alright, so it seems like this was either A setup, or B, a catch-22. Yeah, that's accurate. Okay. My mouth dropped full open now. I tried to remember if I had met anyone on the road before that could possibly have gotten such an idea and sent word ahead. And so the captain was speeding on. And so you can't really blame me for being so careful with you. But now, of course, I know it's all so obvious, just a terrible error of some kind, and you really should be released. That don't even sound cool. You really should be released. Let me out. Let me out! I sat back a little stunned, and he glanced up and then down again and hurried on. Except that, you see, we really can't release you now. His eyes came up again. But I didn't really feel much either way, to tell you the truth. My thoughts were elsewhere, on the class, on the place that we should start today. Don't you want to know why not? He exclaimed. Sure, all right, yes, please, I said, coming back to myself. Well, you see, on the day that you tried to escape, I shot him a fiery glance, or I should say, on the day that it seemed you had tried to escape, I wrote a report. I was required to write a report, you see, informing the ministry that we had custody of a foreigner that had attempted to escape. And now you see you are on record, and the ministry people, they are especially careful with foreigners, given the delicate situation between the king and other various factions. There's no way I could release you now. No way I could report it a simple mistake without causing a lot of trouble and accusations aimed at the superintendent by his enemies in the ministry, who would see the correspondence I sent it, and so we will have to wait. Wait for what? I asked. For the superintendent himself to come see you, and then I can explain everything in person with no correspondence. As I told you, he received some training in the ways of yoga as far back as the times of the old king, who at some point even had the illustrious teacher of yoga advising him. The superintendent will understand. He will give us approval to release you, and then he'll be able to deal with the people in the ministry when he returns. So when will the superintendent be here? I asked. But strangely, I was more engrossed in thinking about how to guide the captain through the pathways of ideas just ahead of him. That's a bit of a problem, you see, he replied. The superintendent, well, he makes it a point to visit the faction like this in the realm at least once a year. The once a year struck me. And suddenly it sounded to me that I should perhaps listen to what the captain was saying. Or so, continued the captain, who had at least mastered official vagueness during his time in the capital. You see, he exclaimed, it is frankly dangerous for the superintendent to announce the itinerary for his visit, since the countryside roads would be a perfect place for people of different factions to ambush him. He is also a very strict and dedicated leader, as was the old king, his friend. He demands regular reports of all our border skirmishes and such, and he likes his visits to be surprised so he can really see how we work from day to day. All your border skirmishes? I asked. And here the captain reddened a bit. He sat up straight and gestured to a pile of reports stacked around him. The people in the ministry, not the superintendent, you see, but many of the people who work around him, people who would like to see him and his ideas thrown out, along with the young king, they would never allow this station to exist. If they didn't think that we were actively holding off constant incursions from the other side of the border, and if this station didn't exist, then the gangs would be back hurting people here within a few weeks, and all the work that we have done to make them safe would be lost forever. And so you see, I make up the skirmishes, and then I write the reports, and then you see, it keeps the common people of this town safe. Something that the faction so influential in the ministry couldn't care less about. Suddenly, I grasped something important. And the captain's path to what he really dreamed of, his path to the dream his uncle had given him, came clear. Ah, I said, beginning him down the path. So now I see, I said, waving to the stacks of reports. The captain looked puzzled. You see why you may have to stay inside this jail for months and months and maybe months more, he asked. Inside? I replied distractedly. Why? Oh, whatever. Of course, I have to stay here. We decided that when we spoke at your house, or before, I said flatly. But no, that's not what I mean. I mean that now I see how your back was cursed. My back? He asked, reaching around instinctively where he had held it all those years. Why, it was the yoga, of course, the exercises, and I'm sure the silent sitting and good wishes for the men helped. I mean, loosening the choke points and all that. Knocking on the pipes from the outside, cleaning it from the inside, the inner winds and all that. You see, I know why my back got better. I shook my head. That's not why your back got better. I finally said, finally. I said, finally. I said with finality. This is just how your back got better. What I just understood was why your back got better. And until you understand why your back got better, you won't even understand really how your back. Hold on, what? This looks like an error. Yeah, this is an error. Okay, that's not why your back got worse. I said with yeah, that's just how your back got better. What I just understood was why your back got better. And until you understand why your back got better, you won't even understand how your back got better either. He looked at me a little confused. No, I read it right. That was all right. Learning these things takes some time. Some time to get all the explanations, some time to ask your questions, some more time to get them answered. And now we would start. I mean, I said, it's something we would begin to talk about a long time ago. Lots of people have aches and pains, things that all come to us more and more as we get older. He nodded. And people try different things to stop the aches and pains, and a certain number of people end up trying yoga. The yoga exercises, the poses you see. Let's put it bluntly. The yoga works for some of them, and it doesn't work for others. And even with the people it works for, it stops working at some point as they get older. And then they just get older and older, and eventually they die, just like everyone else. We said this all before. But the channels, he objected. The inner winds, you explained everything. Yoga works for you if you know how to use the channels and the choke points from the inside and the out. Not enough, I said. Not enough. We have to go deeper. He gave me a look that said he didn't really want to go deeper. He felt all right today, and going deeper, it was an effort. And an effort that we would all avoid in our own way until life forces us forward. Or unless we have a teacher to drag us there. That's an important point. I'm going to take a sip of water on that. Because that's like a plateau. We can get to a plateau at a point where we're feeling good, we're maintaining things, and it's kind of like we put ourselves in a box where we only see opportunities the way that we've been receiving opportunities. So
I have a problem with that. It's comfortable on a plateau. It's good to breathe. I feel like I was raised to feel shame in a day that was unproductive. And so for me, I feel like plateaus are great and meaningful and necessary.
I support your thoughts. No ratcheting. I support your thoughts strongly. I think plateaus are powerful, y'all. I think plateaus are like places for us to actually reflect, to look back at what we did, look back to see where we're going and where we've gone over the past, to get a better idea of what the bigger picture is. Like, plateaus are powerful. Now, staying on a plateau when it's time to move forward, I think that's what they're talking about. Because I see it at times in the practice where people ooh, here's a good one. In the practice, it's like a cumulative practice. So your last posture is like the one you're working on. So you do it twice. One time you do it by yourself, one time you do it with the teacher. Teacher shows you different alignment cues, things to work on, and then you get the gist of it, or maybe you do get it, and then the second time you try to recreate it yourself. That's simple, right? So a lot of times people will stop at that posture and either not do it, they'll do it with the assist but not by themselves, or they'll half-ass it themselves, and then when we come over to do it for real with the assist, time crunch, I gotta go. It is what it is. But what that's bringing up is the point of the plateau. It's like it can be some days you just feel like that. Like, yeah, it ain't the day. But once it starts to become a pattern or a habit, until the universe starts showing like you're starting to repeat habits and patterns, you're staying on this plateau and not moving forward. When that tells you, it's gonna be typically it's gonna be a little bit rougher than someone just going out there and throwing you on a launch pad or like a bounce, a ball pit. But nah, I rock with the plateaus. They're great places. We need to catch our breath, especially if you go hard. If you go hard and nonstop, you need a rest day. I just got my first rest day back. I am a month in of 6 days a week, and it feels phenomenal. I've been working 7 days a week for the past 7 years, and this month has been great. It's been great. Okay, back to the store. There it is. All right. All right. It felt like it was an effort to go deeper. Think. I said finally. Think. You have to think about it. Now it's not just the sergeant and the corporal, and you know it. Now it is the wonderful woman whose blue dress I wore that night. Now it is the daughter you made with her together. Now, it's time to ask, time to find out. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to ourselves to just go on quietly with what little we understand, incomplete until it's too far for us to help ourselves or anyone else. What made the channels? What put the winds inside them? Why does the wind decide to turn one way and not the other? Why do we decide to turn one way and not the other at every fork in the road in our lives? Come on now. These are some questions. What really brought you to this town? What brought me here? Why have we met? Why did you hurt your back? Not how at this particular little desk, and why? Why did it get better? And could we go further? Could we change your body altogether? Does it need to be this way? It is all the questions you asked me the other night, and now we need to answer them. And now you have to follow me and think hard and work hard. There are so many lives at stake, so many. If your uncle said it was true, don't you see? We need to ask. We need to work hard. It doesn't matter what's inside the jail. Everyone is inside a jail. We need to get out of the bigger jail, this entire life, this life that leads to death and ruin. He looked up at me with hope, but then he shook his head. You gave me hope. You gave me hope every time you speak like this. But then, when I am alone again, I start to think. And this first thought that comes to me is always the same. And it always stops the other thoughts that might have come after it. I waited for the question that I knew was coming. A person who didn't think to ask the first was not a worthy vessel for the knowledge of the captain that the captain sought. The knowledge of life itself. You see, he said, you can talk of deeper causes. You can talk of how the body really works, and you can talk about some miraculous method of changing it in all these deepest levels. You can even talk quietly in the stillness of your own private thoughts about changing this body forever, of going as light itself to live in a place of light amongst beings that are pure light and love themselves. He paused to calm himself and glazed for a moment out the window. But whatever you say, however inspiring your words might sound in the moment, one cold fact remains, and it kills your words, and it always has killed those words for me, and it always will, until I learn better. Okay? What I mean to say is, he uttered finally, is that aside from the myths and the old tale we hear repeated now and again, never anything you said could prove, never anything you said could that you could actually see. Well, no one that we can meet face to face has ever really changed like that. Like what you spoke about. I mean, no one that we can actually see has ever used these wonderful methods like you speak of to change into light, to go to a place perfect and never-ending happiness, to stay with the ones they love, with the ones they've loved as you and Uncle claimed we could do. And then he closed his mouth into a tight, sad line and stared at me, almost in accusation. And it was the first question, and it should be the first question. And I had taught him the answer already. He knew it already. But he was just too immense, really, to keep his mind on it for that long. The Master says, I begin, that we must stay in that one pure thought, and never forget it, that single most important thing. Things are empty of beings what they are by themselves. I'll run that back. That we must stay in that one pure thought and never forget it. That single most important thing. Things are empty of being what they are by themselves. They are not what they are by themselves. We make them what they are by our mind looking at it. Dun dun dun. Oh, something happened over here. We're going to reactivate. Hey, and we're back.
My internet connection was unstable, so I thought that was just me. But KRS-One said something. He said, the eyes don't see, the mind sees. And the more words the mind has, the more you can see.
I 1,000,000% support those thoughts. KRS-One be dropping bars. Yeah, I 1,000% support those thoughts. The eyes just feed the mind information to give us images. And then we're like, oh, I thought of this. Well, nothing's really new because it's something we saw, something we felt, something we heard. Something we smell. Wash your feet. Moving forward. He shook his head tightly, forcefully. He almost saw and he didn't see, and it was killing him. I picked up a pen from his desk and he held it up between him, my shiny golden sword. Is this a pen or is it something you eat? I demanded. He shook his head again violently. Help me. I leaned over intensely and slammed my palm into his chest. Is this flesh born only to die, or is this pure and loving light? He looked up to me, and his face changed. In your wife and your daughter, I said, loudly now, thrusting in my palm there at his chest where his highest compassion of all lies choked. Are they dead? Are they gone forever, or do they stand at your side, waiting to be seen, waiting until you learn to see them, to be with them, to be them? And then I slammed my hand down again on the desk and held the pen up between us. Is it a pen or is it something you eat? Hold on, let me put some emotion in it. Is it a pen or is it something you eat? Answer me! I screamed. The answer was black. A pen, he screamed back, nearly across the border. A pen! No! I screamed back. They're in a yellow match. I ain't doing that right now. I ain't got enough water down here for that. But you get the gist. A pen, never a pen, never a pen. No cow has ever seen this pen as a pen, and so I waited for him. And so they would say, cows would say that there are no pens, he finished, still thinking it out. The mind makes it a pen, he went on to himself. It is not a pen by itself. It is empty of that by itself. And then He looked down at his own chest where my hand had woken him. And the body, my body, this flesh, he said, holding on two hands there with the look of wonder growing on his face. This is flesh. It is flesh because, and only because my mind makes me see it that way. Then his chin jolted upright and his eyes turned into mine. But how to change it? He breathed. And I nodded at this understanding and said, it is what I have to teach you now. Ooh. Seeds, not decisions. What time is it? We might be able to do it. Right? Over nearly everyone. Think we can rock about 4 pages in 15?
We've done before.
That's why I was wetting my whistle. Let's get it. No diddy. Where we at? 27. Seeds, not decisions. Oh, seeds and not decisions. First week in September. When we stopped thinking carefully about this pen, I began rolling it in my fingers. Then it's very clear that what it is, its penness is not coming from itself. It's from its side. That much, if we are honest with ourselves and think carefully for a few moments, is obvious. Because, I let him finish. Because if it were a pen by itself, from its own side, then every creature who ever came in contact with it would see it as a pen. It would, in a sense, be shouting out, pen, to every other being that looked at it. But it doesn't act that way, announcing itself that way, say to a cow or a fly that lands on it, concluded the captain eloquently. Correct. But the fact is that us people do see this green stick as a pen, don't we? And if that's not coming from its side, then it must be coming from our side, he finished, almost impatiently. Where else could it come from? It has to be our own minds that make us see the green stick as a pen. And it must be the cow's mind making her see the green stick as, well, just something good to eat. And then he looked frustrated as if he were about to burst. And I waited for the question that I knew was coming. But the problem with that, he blurted out, because it can't be, you see, that it's just my mind making me see it as a pen. And why not? I said, cold as steel, the way Katrine would have said it. Well, it's obvious, he steamed out. Completely obvious. If it were really just my mind making me see it as this pen, well, then I could just decide to see it any way I wanted, you see? Like, I could decide to see this green stick as a bar of gold, and that's what it would be if it were just my own mind making it see it as a pen. I nodded. This was the usual way a person's thinking would flow once they started to get the idea. Well, the master answers that very question in the short book. He says, countless seeds within our mind make us see the great variety of things around us. So it's the seeds that make us see. All right, elaborate on that, book. The point is, I exclaimed, that we don't have any choice about how our minds make us see something, because they force us to see it that way. Because our minds, you see, are full of millions and millions of tiny seeds. Millions and millions of tiny seeds. I couldn't help myself. That was trash. And if we look at something, some of those old seeds that were planted there before, they will ripen. And they will make us see things as we do. Force us to see things as we do. And so our minds make us see things the way that we do, but it's not at all that we are controlling the process as this happens. You getting the gist. And I think it might help if you hear if we say a little bit more about how it all happens. because it happens so fast, all in just one moment. Always in one fleeting present moment. The master goes in to explain like this. What does the master say? The way it works is that they organize other parts in a certain way. I'm going to run it back. The way it works is that they organize other parts in a certain way. Expand on that. Unpack that for us, book. You see, there are always some other parts involved. Let's take the pen in case. The other parts are the cylindrical shape and some green color. In fact, if you think clearly about it, this is another indicator that your mind is making you see the pen as a pen. The captain clocked his eye at the pen, trying to thresh it out and guide him ahead swiftly. You see, if you really think about it, our eyes, our sense of sight, work in a very limited little world. That is, in shapes and colors. Your eyes, as such, can only detect shapes and colors. And once they have detected shapes and colors, in our case, a cylindrical shape with some green color, then their only job is to pass this information along to the mind. And then the mind thinks about it and organizes all of this data into an object, into a thing. Now, which thing it decides to organize out of these parts is not up to us, you see. Or things would always just be what we wanted them to be. And the hard facts of life inform us quite clearly that it's not the way it works. No, it's different. Something else is at work, something else behind the scenes, something outside of our conscious control. And this power behind the scenes is the seeds within our minds, countless seeds. They decide how our mind goes ahead and organizes those other parts into things. A cow's mind has seeds that ripen in the moment and organize the reports of colors and shapes and images and tasty little morsels. Our minds have different seeds that ripen into very different, that ripen at the very different. Rewind. Our minds have different seeds that ripen at the very same moment, but which organize the same colors and shapes into a pen. And why does the master say countless seeds? Why, look around you, gaze upon the incredible variety of things around you, even at the given moment, and all their details. Every little detail of the things you see around you has been an image, a separate image, organized by the mind, which is forced to do more seed ripen to organize each detail into itself. And that's just things that we can see. I pushed on. But everything else we can ever be aware of outside ourselves, inside our own thoughts and memories, hopes, ideas, dreams, they're all the same. All of them images, all of them things sketched into being from other parts, other pieces, put together as seeds within our minds, forcing all of them images, all of them things sketched into being from other parts, other pieces, put together as seeds within our minds, force or mind to put them together. And all real, you see. I wanted to make sure right away that he didn't fall into that common trap. All real, you see. All working, really working as objects we see them to be. The pen is an object that the seeds in our mind force our minds to piece together. Yes, but the pen works, you see. It's real, it works, and it's exactly why it works. And same for something nice to eat, he finishes with a smile. It may be true, well, I guess it has to be true, that it's only the seeds in the cow's mind making it see the same green cylindrical cylinder as a snack. But that doesn't make it any less real or tasty or solid in the cow's stomach. In fact, if I understand you right, it explains exactly why the cylinder can fill the cow's stomach. Beautiful, I whispered in the hushed tones. Beautiful, you got it. I leaned over to the desk and he leaned over to the desk at me, happy with every reason to be happy. No, I didn't get it, he whispered back with a smile. I frowned back. Didn't get what? Didn't get where the seeds come from. Ah, that, I said, later, of course. Time to knock on the pipes, I added. I was hoping you'd forgotten, he said, his face already dripping from the summer heat. Can't we just concentrate on cleaning the pipes from the inside? Isn't it much more powerful? He asked. It is, I agreed. But working from the outside, the yoga poses, the special way of breathing, and it's something so concrete, something anyone, anywhere, any age, and any frame of mind can roll up their sleeves and get their bare hands on, and make gradual, steady, measurable progress on from day to day. And that in itself is powerful, unspeakably powerful. We need things like that. They go together, a perfect union. Yoga, inside and out. All right, he said with resignation, and stood up to sweat some more. Nailed it. Seeds are planted. Chapter 28. Next Monday, y'all. Chapter 28, y'all. Ooh wee.
Tuesday, not Monday. Next Tuesday.
Thank you for the correction. Next Tuesday, y'all. Hey, I see Brent threw out a badge. I appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'm rocking with the book, y'all. For real, this needs to be a movie. I'm gonna slide some of this info to someone I know, cause this joint hitting, and it can for sure get some of the info out about yoga on a deeper level. So, some people could use the word. That's it. What we got going on? I encourage y'all to check out, if you're a local in the DMV area, I highly encourage you to check out one of our in-person sessions. Maybe it's at Flow Yoga Center, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 12 a.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have the Ashtanga Mysore practice. That's exactly what this book is talking about. And Monday through Friday, we have Mysore at Sun and Moon Yoga in Arlington, and a leg class on Saturday at 8. I highly encourage you to check it out. Check out the website, see what offerings you have. If you're a yoga instructor and you're looking to deepen your practice, learn a little bit more, get hands-on adjustments. I know that's been one thing that's been really out of the reach for people, and something that people have really been craving, hands-on adjustments. We have workshops available coming up. I encourage you to check it out. Sound baths happening. We got the Tulum retreat with Nadia Starr. Yo, just check it out. The teacher training coming in March. Everything's on the UE.dc website, yo. It's lit. We out here making a difference, and I'm excited to be a part of it. And I hope some more people join on and join the growth game and help other people, stop bullshitting on their greatness and stand in their power. With that being said, questions, comments, want to work on something, go on, slap an email in the inbox. Go on, meditate, vote, and share. Become part of the growth gate. Sign up on the website. Sign up for the newsletter. Let's stay in touch, y'all. Peace and love. Hey.